Well, 6 teams remain unbeaten in MLS after the first 3 match days. That's NYCFC, who won 5-0 in their home opener against an Orlando City side that has yet to win a game. Also, who has yet to win a game? Philadelphia Union, who lost to San Jose Earthquakes 1-0. It was the same scoreline for San Diego in their win over Sporting KC. San Diego yet to concede a goal this season. It was also 1-0 in LAFC's win over FC Dallas. Open Cup champions Nashville, they beat Minnesota United 3-1, and the Vancouver Whitecaps beat Portland Timbers 4-1. So those are the 6 remaining unbeaten teams in this league. To talk more about all of this, let's bring in our CBS Sports MLS correspondent, Nate Bukaty. Nate, one team who was beaten in the first match, Inter Miami, they have followed that up with 2 wins of their own, with the most recent one being a 2-1 win over the weekend against DC United, who didn't play in their home stadium. Instead, they played at the Baltimore Ravens Stadium to accommodate the over 72,000 fans that came out for this. And Nate, we're seeing this trend, of course, of teams hosting Inter Miami at a bigger stadium to accommodate all of these huge crowds. Do you think that this is a movement that will continue seeing, and does it make sense? Is it worth it for the league to do this?
Well, I mean, if you do the calculus on it, how many millions of dollars did you make in ticket revenue by going from 20,000 people watching the match to 72,000 watching the match? As long as they can fill stadiums and those stadiums are available, I think it would be malpractice in Major League Soccer not to do this. I understand some of the diehard fans that have season tickets get a little upset when they, change up the situation on them. Your seats aren't exactly the same, but you have to do it. You've got to get this man in front of as many American soccer fans as you possibly can. And my kids were lucky enough to go to that one at Sporting Park in Kansas City a couple years ago. It was a phenomenal, unforgettable experience. I think they've got to keep doing it, especially as long as the demand is there.
Nate, as we talk about Inter Miami, look, they won MLS Cup last season. We were talking about their legacy, Messi's legacy. But this season, we had a conversation, and I think Jorge Mas is having the same conversation, that he says the priority is the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They play a hungry, a motivated, and a very good Nashville side this Wednesday. So when you look at their chances, how do they match up against a Nashville side that, in my opinion, are just as good on their day, minus Lionel Messi?
Yeah, you got to talk about the history, though, Michael, because this is crazy how many times Lionel Messi and Miami have already gone up against Nashville in big competitions. They played each other in the Champions Cup. They played in that Leagues Cup final. Last year, it was Messi and Miami who knocked Nashville out of the playoffs. Lionel Messi's played 10 times against Nashville. He scored 15 goals and had 4 assists. They've had Nashville's number every single time around. Now, I said this on the show a couple of weeks ago when we were doing our season preview, that Nashville, to me, is the team that everybody should be looking at as a team to make the biggest jump this year because of what they added. They added Christian Espinoza, who had a great game this past weekend. Nashville are better, but are they better enough, right? Have they improved enough to actually be able to take down Lionel Messi, who is absolutely – I mean, look, Lionel Messi dominates everybody in this league, but it's almost at a different level when it comes to Nashville. So I think we're going to get to find out. It's going to be a great one because of that history. Nashville are better. Did they improve enough to where they can actually go toe-to-toe with Inter Miami in one of these competitions and win? We're about to find out, because it looks like after that stumble out of the blocks for Miami – it wasn't an easy win against DC, by the way, this past weekend. They were under it a little bit through the last 15 minutes or so of that match. But I think they are Inter Miami at the end of the day. They are improved even from what they were a year ago in some ways. So it's going to be a great matchup in this CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Nate, a lot of times when a team wins MLS Cup, the following year they struggle. We saw that last year with LA Galaxy. We saw it with LAFC when they won. But I have a feeling that we're not going to be seeing that with Miami. I have a feeling that they're just going to keep moving up and up and up. But the team that fell to them in MLS Cup last year, Vancouver Whitecaps, we can say that they truly exceeded all of our expectations with what they were able to do last year. And what I hear a lot of people say is that they think that they're actually going to drop off this season, because last year they just exceeded those expectations so much. But is that a fair assessment, or do you think they're only going to continue building on what they did last year?
I think the people that expected a big drop-off from Vancouver weren't really paying attention to why they were so good. I was listening to a pretty heated exchange on the show here about midfielders that control the game, Vitinha, Pedri, and all that. Well, when it comes to Major League Soccer, I think you can make a strong case that the best midfield double pivot in the league is in Vancouver. You're talking about Sebastian Berhalter, who's worked his way into the U.S. men's national team conversation for a good reason. There he is scoring a goal. And Andres Kubas is one of the best defensive midfielders in all of Major League Soccer as well. You add players like Thomas Muller up top and a great coaching situation. When we thought they might lose one of the best defenders in the league, when everybody was talking about, Tristan Blackman possibly being moved on, that didn't happen. This Vancouver side is still for real. I think they're very much going to be a part of the conversation in the West.
Nate, Vancouver is one of 4 teams that have done pretty damn well for themselves to start the season, right? You're perfect 3-0. So we're going to play a little game, who's real and who's not. So there's something in the water in the Western Conference right now, because when you look at the 4 different teams we're going to talk about, I'm intrigued, but also I'm thinking, wait, what's San Jose doing there? Because it's not the San Jose team from last year. So for you, who's real and who's not?
Well, you got to start with San Jose, right? Because, like you said, that's the surprise team. Now, first things first, I think all of us that have watched this sport domestically for any length of time knows you got to respect Bruce Arena and what he's going to do as a head coach. And I think that roster doesn't quite measure up. And you also kind of have to look at the competition so far. Sporting Kansas City are in a complete rebuild. Atlanta United still look a bit like a mess in the Eastern Conference. And I don't know what's going on with Philadelphia. That second year for Bradley Carnell is off to a tough start again. So I'm taking the results from San Jose with a little bit of a grain of salt. As you see Seattle and Vancouver coming up, the test's going to get a lot tougher for San Jose going forward.
It definitely will, because Vancouver is also perfect. So is San Diego and LAFC. How about the San Diego side? We showed them some love last time. You were talking about Manu Dua, and this is a side that, including with Manu Dua, hasn't let a goal in this season yet.
I think I need to be careful when I talk about San Diego and present company, right? I got to make sure I'm saying. But listen, I think you take what they did a year ago, and that's another side that people could have question whether or not they can maintain, right? They lose Chucky Lozano. They're right there, though. And so I do think this is not a fluke, and I think they've kind of made a big statement right out of the gate. But again, that competition that they've played so far, they haven't really been tested by the teams that they've faced. Listen, I think they showed last year that with the system that they have and the young players that are not afraid of this stage, they're going to be a team to contend with in the Western Conference.
Nate, the last team, you'd mentioned them very briefly, LAFC. I mean, JD and I were talking about, they were my storyline from match day 1 in Major League Soccer. I mean, how much better can they get? Because when I think about that question, I think they're scary good already.
No doubt about it. And listen, I want to go talk about those underrated midfielders again. When you guys asked me before this season started who my offseason signing was, Tony Miola had already taken Bertarame away from me. So I went with Eustachio, but they want to play in a more attractive way this year. They want to play with the ball a little bit more. They sent a message to the entire league with what they did to Inter Miami in week 1. 3 clean sheets, as you pointed out. If they can play that well defensively and control games in the midfield, they're the best team in the Western Conference, and maybe, Mr. Lahoud, the best team in all of Major League Soccer.
Ooh, I like hearing that. Well, Nate, we appreciate it. We don't have time to talk about the teams that are crashing down, Orlando City, Atlanta, Philadelphia Union, teams that are still looking for their first win. But thank you so much, Nate.
We'll keep it positive. We'll save those teams for later, guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
And Nate, very quickly before we go to break, happy belated birthday, man.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.